Yeah.
And I'm sure you didn't know, and I don't know that I really even shared with a lot of people at Messiah College, all of the baggage that I was carrying when I was at Messiah. I even lived above a church one summer because I didn't have a home. I was homeless and lived above the church, Bethel Temple church, and did some ministry there. And so then losing this child brought everything full circle. And I was confronted again with this loss. And I was so angry this time. Like, I thought for sure, well, that was my childhood. Now I'm on the path of walking with God. Jesus has me. And then the rug is pulled out from under me. And I just turned my back on God. I didn't want to have anything to do with him. I stopped praying, stopped going to church. I did not want to face him. I thought he was a liar, that his word was a lie. Like you said, if you ask, and whoever asks in my name will receive it. You lied. Of course I was familiar with death and everything, but maybe I just thought, oh, people who don't ask God, that's when stuff happens. But there are plenty of people now I know you can pray and pray and pray and ask the Lord, and his will is his will, and he's doing something greater. But at the time, my faith was so simple. Like it was simple, but not in the simple way as impure. It was simplistic. Like I thought I knew everything about God because I just thought he was a genie. Like I said, like you wave your magic wand and he just says, okay. And now having walked with him all of these years, having experienced loss, having had to carry my children, high-risk pregnancy, from 3 months all the way until birth, I was on mandatory bed rest with surgery both times with them and having to carry them, like really hanging by a thread and looking at God's word and saying, this is what you say, this is what I believe. And then finally, but I'm going to trust you. Like at first it was like, this is what you say, this is what I believe. And that was it, and like, because you said it, this is it. But it was the last line of learning to trust him. And I carried both of my children who are alive because, I have 3 kids, but my daughter was born first. She's 19 right now. She's going to be 20 in August. My son was born after her, and he's 16. And it was hard carrying them. It was a faith walk. I prayed, I cried, I bargained with God, all the things that you do, right? Don't you do that, right? You end up with a cancer diagnosis.
I'm much more pure.
You're much more advanced in your faith than I am, right?
I don't know. Yes. Yeah,
you do all this.
I bargained with Meg. Why don't I bargain? We if we're honest, we bargain with each other, right? And so, God, for those that believe in him, is another living being, and we are the same people we are with our spouses, our children, and we're like, please get in the car, Jake and Asher. Please, God. Please, God, please. I beg you.
If you do this, you can have this. I'll give you a sucker.
Please, Meg. Please, Meg, let me buy this boat.
I promise I'll take care of it. I promise it won't be an issue. It won't be an extra.
I promise it won't be like the motorcycle. I promise.
Exactly. Yes. And so I bargained with God, and he did show up, and it took a while. I mean, I wrestled with him. I even had, I had some physical ailments, a lot of things that I held inside because of my doubt of him, and my bitterness affected me physically for a while. But then I walked with him, and it's not that I'm like, oh, I'm close to God now because both my kids came. No, like I was changed through that process. I mean, you're at the foot of the cross and you say, Lord, like my life's in your hands, pretty much was what it was. And it was like, my children's lives are in your hands. And I remember thinking, if none of my kids live, would I still serve him? It's like we are conditional with God, right? Like not only do we bargain with him, we're conditional.
I'm gonna use a bad word. We are bastards. We're like, you better do this or else.
Yep.
And it's so we're bad children,
We are.
Daddy, you better give us what we want, or else
hands on hips.
You better give us ice cream, Daddy, or we're not going to cuddle with you tonight. Or
yeah. I mean,
it'll fit.
who do we think we are, right? And we're the created telling the creator, this is what he better do. Like the audacity, right?
This is what you better do. I love that.
This is what you're going to do. So so I remember being faced with that. And even my biggest struggle was when my daughter was born and she was not even 1. She was a couple months old, and I would hover over her crib, and feel that she was breathing. Come on. But that's what I was doing. I still had not let go of her. And I remember him saying to me, she is here and you still have not let go of her. What is it? And I was like, oh, I'm feeling very convicted. He's like, even you have what you asked for and you're still not satisfied. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're only satisfied in God when you let go.
I don't know if you know this. First off, my experience is nothing like yours. So I'm just going to say that this is not a comparison at all. But I think every parent does that to their kids, the breathing check and the you watch, you're like, I think I saw their chest move this month. So
oh, I know. Yeah, you do. Yeah, because that is, there's so many different quotes. It's not natural for a parent to bury their child. You hear that, to bury your child. I heard somebody say when you bury your parents, you bury your past. And when you bury your child, you bury your future. So it's the stories end and the things that your mother told you were and all the pictures and all. Yeah, you kind of because your parents went before you. And so they fill you in on all the stuff. And even all the memories you have. Oh, trips with mom and dad and vacations or tell me that story about how it was when I first started walking. They're your memory, right? Your parents serve your memory. So they're filling in all this stuff, But when you bury your child, the looking forward to the things, it just stops cold. And
there's a hope that you had there.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to let go of, those hopes and those dreams.
Exactly.
For that baby.
Child. So when we had Corey, she was a girl, and I remember being at church one day, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to bargain with God again, but I think I might.
But I'll ask nicely.
We were out here in central Pennsylvania. We were house parents. When we had Corey, she was actually born in Hershey, high risk pregnancy, all that. We brought her home to 12 boys. This is your little sister. And they were like, oh, they see her now and they can't believe, our kids grew up in such a big house. But we were in central Pennsylvania. We were at church, and I remember this pastor spoke a message about being offended and your offenses. Somebody could have offended you at work, or you could be offended, your spouse, and forgiveness and all this stuff. And then the last day, he did a whole series. And the last day of the series, he says, what if you're offended with God? And I was like, I know. Because you know what? I was like, God, I want a son. So it wasn't and again, he's like, it was not enough for you. Here she is. It's not enough, So I was like, God, I want a son. I remember I went down to the altar and I just cried. I don't know how long I stayed there. But I was like, I want a son. Could I have a boy? And that was when the hope was back. You just mentioned, the hope is gone. With Corey, it was there, and he's like, you're breathing your nose under. He's like, dude, will you let go and let me be God, So I let go, and she was 3.5 when AJ was born. So my pregnancies, it's not we'll just do whatever. No, it had to be I said to my husband, are you ready to be on bed rest for 6 months? Are you ready to take care of Corey and me be on bed rest for 6 months? So there was no we're just gonna try. We had to plan it all out. And he was and it was a boy. So yeah, happy ending.
So what are you bargaining with God about now?
Oh boy, I don't know. I don't think I'm bargaining with it. I'm ready to move. We just, we bought a house. I'm ready to move. What about you?
Well, what am I bargaining with God about now?
Yeah.
wait a minute. This is supposed to go like
we were bargaining. Were we on
I asked the
bargaining
questions.
with God about COVID, right? Weren't we all bargaining with him? Oh gosh, like,
oh yeah. Well, I think it's I don't know. It's interesting. What was I bargaining God about? I think that like in my past, and talking, what am I bargaining with God about today? I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to think about that and come back to you, because there's something always that we're not quite satisfied with.
Yes,
like
I would agree.